What's up, YouTube? So before we get started with this video, on First Take, they're going to be talking about Jacksonville Jaguars cornerback Jalen Ramsey. So let's see what they have to say about him.
When I see an athlete willing to talk himself out onto a limb and then have to back that up in a sport where you are sure to be embarrassed at times, I love that. And now he got burnt enough that what? Now he's walking it back? Or is it just that it's a team sport and he's hearing stuff in the locker room?
Max, I'm with you on wanting to hear dudes jump out there in that water, as we say down south. But I will say this. When you're getting beat to sleep, it's time to be quiet, all right? So last year, the Jaguars had nothing to talk about. And Jalen Ramsey identifies that. But this is not about losing. This is not about losing. This is about the bag. I'm growing. Yeah. I'm maturing.
And he's going to secure
This
it?
is about the bag.
Yeah,
he's in a contract year. He's about to get paid. So after he get paid, he'll turn back into the Jalen Ramsey that we know, which is smart business to me.
Well, first of all,
So I completely agree with Mr. Spears. I think Jalen Ramsey's probably turning it down because this is his contract year. And everybody knows in your contract year, you better be on your P's and Q's and you better be producing on the field and not getting in trouble off the field. So I think Jalen Ramsey, like I said, he's in his contract year, so he's been on his P's and Q's. And they didn't necessarily do as good last year as they wanted, so it's going to be kind of hard to talk trash. But have no doubt that Jalen Ramsey will be back to talking trash because everybody knows those Florida State boys know how to talk trash, and they do talk trash, and they do back it up. So let's take a quick look at Jalen Ramsey's numbers real quick. So he's coming up on his fourth year. He's played 3 years. So he has 9 picks, 44 pass breakups. He's been to 2 Pro Bowls, and he's never missed a start. Never missed a game in 3 years. This is his 4th year coming up. So Jalen Ramsey is a baller out of Florida State. So, I mean, he can back it up. He can back it up. He can talk trash and back it up. But I think he just toned it down because he wants to get that bag. So let's continue.
I love it. I don't hate it at all. I love what he did. And this is the reason why. Tom Coughlin. Tom Coughlin is the executive vice president for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Tom Coughlin is the former 2-time Super Bowl champion with the New York Giants. What was Tom Coughlin's reputation for many, many years? Don't play.
Yep.
No nonsense. He doesn't.
10 minutes early.
He doesn't tolerate. He doesn't. You know, you late if you 5 minutes early. That's Tom Coughlin. He don't have time for all of that. He's not playing that game. Now, to some degree, that leads to your point about you being absolutely correct. It's about the bag. It's about getting those dollars. But it's also about the fact that, remember, because you got to remember something. Jalen Ramsey could come at him and go like this. We were 5-11. It damn sure wasn't because of our defense. We had 4th-ranked defense in the NFL. We were number 2 against the pass, and I'm one of your cornerbacks. So I had a lot to do with you being number 2 against the pass. He could simply go that route, but he knows where he's at. And he knows who he's playing for. And you have a man that's a stickler. I sat in front of, you sat next to Julian Edelman. What was he talking to us about? There's a certain way that ship is ran in New England. Yeah, you could get the bag when you're balling. Yeah. And oh, by the way, you're towing the company line. In New England, they enforce that. With the New York Giants, once upon a time, they enforced that. What was Tom Coughlin's problem and what ultimately led to his exodus from the New York Giants? The fact that he let go of those principles to some degree when it came to Odell Beckham Jr. in some people's eyes. So when you look at it from that perspective, and now that he's in Jacksonville, wait a minute. I've been here before. I've seen these kind of players before. I see how that mouth might get you in trouble. Your mouth depositing checks that your behind can't cash. I'm not trying to hear that. You go toe the line or else. And I know what you did this year. And even though you might have stepped back in terms of, yards allowed, number of interceptions, you only had 3 last season, all that stuff, it don't matter because I know how great you are. But you need to understand that your mouth had a very detrimental effect on this franchise. And I run this franchise, not you. So I'm not going to let you get away with it. Jalen Ramsey realizes that and said, as you said, I'm after the bag. Smart on his part.
You both make
very smart.
So I somewhat agree with Stephen A. Smith, but I do think that Jalen Ramsey, for the most part, he's probably piped down a little bit because it is a contract year and you better be on your P's and Q's in a contract year if you want to get the full amount in your bag. But like I said, them Florida State boys, they know how to talk trash and they can back it up. And Jalen Ramsey does back it up. And like I said, I got to say it again. Those Florida boys, they know how to talk trash and they know how to back it up. You could just ask Randy Moss or Deion Sanders about that. Now, as far as Tom Coughlin, coming in as a coach, I would definitely have to respect him if I was Jalen Ramsey, and I think he does. But Tom Coughlin has done a few things other coaches haven't been able to do, and he beat the GOAT twice. He beat the GOAT twice. I'm sorry, arguably the GOAT and Tom Brady. He beat him twice, the New England Patriots. So just off of that alone, I have to have mad respect for Tom Coughlin and at least give him a fair shake and listen to him and do what he wants to do as far as being a new coach coming in, because like I said, he beat the GOAT twice, which means it wasn't a fluke. So as far as that, I think Jalen Ramsey and Tom Coughlin, I think they'll be able to play with each other, because like I said, Tom Coughlin is a great coach. Jalen Ramsey is a straight baller, and he's proven it. So I think they'll be able to come together and make things work out in Jacksonville. Plus, you got Nick Foles. He's a Super Bowl winner. So I think those guys, I think they'll all be able to gel together and have a good season next year. So let's continue.
You both make great points. Go get that money, Jalen. I get that. And you with Coughlin, that's exactly right. Like I almost had nothing else to say, but you know me too well, Stephen A. Mm-hmm. Remember that Giants? Listen, Coughlin's way works better than most. Coughlin's way works better than most. Look where he goes and ultimately what winds up happening. Not everyone gets to the title game. Not everyone wins a Super Bowl. Coughlin's teams do when that culture sets in and it takes a little time, but it works. But it's not like it's the only way it works, or it's necessarily the best way to work it. And think about even his Giants experience. He's about to get the boot. They formed I forgot what they called it, like a veterans committee on the team, leadership committee. And they would liaison with Coughlin like, okay, we hear you, but this is what's going on in the locker room. This is what's going on with the players.
Right,
but they didn't get better.
So I don't quite understand. Well, this is probably for another video, but I don't quite understand why Tom Coughlin would get the boot from the New York Giants, but Eli Manning is still there, because that was his right-hand man. It has to have been, because they won 2 Super Bowls and beat the GOAT twice. So it's just kind of weird how that worked out, that Eli Manning is still there. I mean, I like Eli Manning. I have a lot of respect for him. He could be himself arguably the GOAT, because he's beat the GOAT twice in a Super Bowl. Not once, twice. So that means it's not a fluke. So I don't know. If I was Jalen Ramsey, I would be happy that Tom Coughlin's there, because you have a new start. You're working with the coach, like I said, that's beat the GOAT, and you have a pretty good fresh start. And with Nick Foles, he's a Super Bowl winner. So all those guys know how to win. So I think they'll be okay. But let's continue.
But let me hold on. Let me say this. Let me say this is the most important point. There are people, you have to take stock of your locker room. Jimmy Johnson might not have had a problem with cats acting up, because they came out and balled, and B, his bottom line was winning. We have some people like a Bill Belichick, like a Tom Coughlin, like a Bill Parcells and others. It's not just about winning. It's about control. Understand who's the boss, understand what culture I want, and understand that I think that you can have a negative effect on everybody else.
How they win.
That's part of how they win. So you look at a guy like Jalen Ramsey, and Coughlin's like, nah, we ain't having that. And I want to be very clear when I say this, because no matter what line of business, everybody's trying to get your money. At the end of the day, you must prove. To me, the people who deserve to get paid are the ones who proves they're trustworthy. The ones who if I give you this money, you ain't gonna take my money and then say, all right, I got you now. Nah, I need to trust that you got something inside of yourself that says, I want to validate every penny that I'm earning. And that's where Jalen Ramsey is gonna have to show up.
So here's
So before Marcus Spears says anything, I don't know why Stephen A. Smith would say that, because Jalen Ramsey, like I said, he's a baller. He's been balling since day one. So last year he had 3 interceptions. The year before that he had 4. And the year before that, his rookie year, he had 2. So he's not that bad. He's been to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years that he's played. He's never missed a start. So, I mean, to act like he's not, you need to prove yourself before you can get this bag. I think if he stopped right now, Jalen Ramsey would be good enough to get a max contract, because he's been balling out of control. And like I said, those Florida State boys, they know how to ball. You can just ask Deion Sanders and Randy Moss. But anyways, besides that, I think, like I said, you know what? I forgot what I was going to say. So let's continue.
The dynamic and what makes it so hard in sports. It's always hindsight after you get the bag. It's always hindsight, right? We saw Odell Beckham antics before he got paid. Once he got paid, you get a little more of a leash. Nick Saban told me something when I was playing for him that it shaped my entire sports career. Everybody be treated fair, but everybody ain't treated equal. And that's how this goes. If you a baller, you got more leeway to say and do things outside of what you're doing. You think Belichick liked all the stuff Gronk was doing? Hell no. But I ain't winning the Super Bowl without him.
Right.
So it's a difference when you have guys in your locker room like that. The problem that Jalen Ramsey ran into is that they sucked last year. Yeah. The year before he went crazy, Jacksonville was in the playoffs deep, possibly going to the Super Bowl.
And he talked about stuff he
Molly,
could have, but
Molly,
not
read
his
that
teammates.
question. Read that question again.
Like, love, or hate Ramsey.
Okay. His trash
Tuning
talk, right?
down his trash talk.
Okay. Everything you're saying is true. I gotta like it. I hate it. I hate it. I loved it when Ramsey